There comes a moment in every person's life when they must face a fundamental question: is this all there is? Standing at the intersection of who you've been and who you could become, you realize that the path you've been walking may not be leading to the destination your heart truly desires. This moment of recognition is not a crisis, it's an awakening. It's your inner wisdom calling you to step into a larger version of yourself. It's life inviting you to participate more fully in your own existence rather than simply letting circumstances carry you along. We live in a world that conditions us to accept mediocrity as normal, to settle for convenience rather than chase excellence, to prioritize comfort over growth. But somewhere deep inside, you know you were designed for more than just survival. You were created to thrive, to contribute, to leave your unique mark on the world. The question isn't whether you have the potential for an extraordinary life. You do. The question is whether you're willing to do what it takes to claim that potential. Are you ready to step out of the stands and onto the field of your own life? Are you prepared to stop being a spectator and start being the architect of your destiny? In sports, the fourth quarter is where champions are made. It's where the difference between good and great becomes evident. It's where character is revealed and legacies are forged. The same principle applies to life. Regardless of how you've performed in the first 3 quarters, the fourth quarter gives you the opportunity to finish strong. But what does it mean to live with fourth quarter mentality? It means operating with urgency without panic, intensity without stress, focus without tunnel vision. It means recognizing that every day is precious and every choice matters. It means understanding that you don't have unlimited time to procrastinate on your dream. Fourth quarter thinking requires you to evaluate your current position honestly. Where are you right now compared to where you plan to be? What gaps exist between your intentions and your reality? What patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting have brought you to this point? This evaluation isn't about judgment or regret. It's about clarity. You can't navigate to a new destination without knowing your current location. You can't solve problems you haven't clearly identified. You can't change patterns you haven't acknowledged. The beautiful thing about fourth quarter thinking is that it's never too late to change the outcome. History is filled with people who transformed their lives in the final quarter, who achieved their greatest successes after their supposed prime, who discovered their true calling when others thought their time had passed. Personal transformation isn't about changing everything at once. It's about making strategic changes that create cascading effects throughout your life. Like a skilled architect, you need to identify the load-bearing walls of your current existence and carefully redesign the structure while maintaining stability. The foundation of any personal revolution is a clear vision of what you're building toward. This isn't just about setting goals. It's about creating a compelling picture of the person you want to become. Goals are destinations, but identity is the vehicle that gets you there. When you change your identity, your behaviors naturally align with that new self-concept. Most people try to change from the outside in. They focus on behaviors and outcomes while ignoring the beliefs and identity that drive those behaviors. This approach is exhausting because it requires constant willpower. True transformation happens from the inside out. When you change your beliefs about what's possible and your identity about who you are, the external changes flow naturally. The process begins with honest self-assessment. What beliefs about yourself and the world are limiting your potential? What stories have you been telling yourself about why you can't have what you want? What identities have you adopted that no longer serve your growth? This isn't about blame or shame. It's about responsibility and power. When you take full responsibility for your current situation, you reclaim full power to change it. When you acknowledge that your thoughts, choices, and actions have created your present reality, you realize you have the same power to create a different future. One of the most challenging aspects of personal transformation is recognizing how your relationships either support or undermine your growth. The people you surround yourself with have enormous influence on your thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and possibilities. This influence is often subtle but always powerful. You naturally tend to mirror the energy, attitudes, and expectations of those closest to you. If you're surrounded by people who think small, you'll find yourself thinking small. If you're around people who make excuses, you'll find yourself making excuses. If you're with people who settle for less, you'll find yourself settling too. This doesn't make these people bad. It makes them incompatible with your growth. Just as a plant needs the right soil to thrive, you need the right social environment to reach your potential. Sometimes love means creating distance. Sometimes caring for others means refusing to enable their limitations. Sometimes supporting someone means not allowing them to keep you small. The process of upgrading your relationships requires courage and discernment. It means being selective about who gets access to your energy, your dreams, and your time. It means surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow rather than enabling you to stay comfortable. This doesn't mean abandoning everyone who isn't as ambitious as you are. It means being intentional about the ratio of energy givers versus energy takers in your life. It means spending more time with people who inspire you and less time with those who drain you. It means seeking relationships that are mutually beneficial rather than one-sided. The mastery of personal standards. Your life is a direct reflection of the standards you accept for yourself. If you accept mediocrity, you'll get mediocrity. If you accept excuses, you'll get more reasons to make excuses. If you accept less than your worth, you'll continue to receive less than you deserve. Raising your standards isn't about becoming demanding or difficult. It's about honoring your potential and refusing to settle for less than your best effort. It's about expecting excellence from yourself first and then naturally attracting people and opportunities that match that level of excellence. Personal standards operate in every area of life. How you treat your body, how you manage your finances, how you show up in relationships, how you pursue your goals, how you spend your time. When you raise your standards in one area, it tends to elevate other areas automatically because standards are interconnected. The key to raising standards successfully is to do it gradually and systematically. Trying to change everything at once leads to overwhelm and eventual regression. Instead, choose one area where higher standards would create the most positive impact and focus there first. For example, you might start by raising your standards around health, committing to regular exercise, better nutrition, adequate sleep, and stress management. As your physical vitality improves, you'll have more energy for other areas of growth. As you prove to yourself that you can maintain higher standards in one area, your confidence to upgrade other areas increases. The revolution in daily practices. Extraordinary results come from ordinary actions performed consistently over time. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people isn't dramatic. It's the accumulation of small choices made day after day. Revolution happens through evolution, not through single dramatic events. Your daily practices are the building blocks of your identity and destiny. Every morning you wake up, you're either reinforcing the person you've been or creating the person you want to become. Every choice is a vote for your future self. Every action is either moving you toward your goals or away from them. The power of daily practices lies in their compound effect. Just as money invested consistently grows exponentially over time, small positive actions compound into major life changes. The key is choosing practices that align with your goals and maintaining them long enough for the compound effect to kick in. Effective daily practices share certain characteristics. They're specific rather than vague, consistent rather than sporadic, measurable rather than abstract, and aligned with your deeper values rather than just surface desire. They should challenge you enough to promote growth, but not so much that they're unsustainable. The morning hours are particularly powerful for establishing transformative practices because your willpower is strongest and your day hasn't yet been hijacked by other people's priorities. How you start your day largely determines the quality and direction of everything that follows. This might include physical exercise to energize your body, meditation or prayer to center your mind, journaling to clarify your thoughts, reading to expand your knowledge, or planning to organize your priorities. The specific practices matter less than the consistency and intentionality behind them. The economics of energy management. Energy, not time, is your most valuable resource. You can have all the time in the world, but without energy, that time is worthless. You can have very little time, but with high energy you can accomplish remarkable things. Understanding how to generate, preserve, and direct your energy is essential for sustainable high performance. Energy operates on multiple levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Each level affects the others, so managing energy requires attention to all dimensions. Physical energy comes from exercise, nutrition, sleep, and recovery. Mental energy comes from challenging but engaging work, learning, and creative expression. Emotional energy comes from meaningful relationships, purposeful work, and activities that bring joy. Spiritual energy comes from connection to something larger than yourself, whether that's God, nature, humanity, or a cause you believe in. When all four types of energy are flowing, you experience vitality, clarity, passion, and purpose. Most people focus on managing their time while ignoring their energy, then wonder why they feel exhausted despite having hours left in the day. Time management is important, but energy management is transformational. When your energy is high, you accomplish more in less time and enjoy the process more fully. Energy management requires understanding your natural rhythms and designing your life accordingly. Some people are most creative in the morning, others in the evening. Some perform best with consistent routines, others thrive on variety. Some are energized by social interaction, others by solitude. The key is identifying your unique energy patterns and structuring your days to maximize your peak energy times while allowing for recovery during your natural low period. This might mean scheduling your most important work during your highest energy hours and using low energy times for routine tasks or rest. The psychology of breakthrough thinking. Your thoughts create your reality, but most people let their thoughts run on autopilot, unconsciously reinforcing the very limitations they want to overcome. Breakthrough thinking requires becoming aware of your mental patterns and deliberately choosing thoughts that support your growth rather than sabotage it. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. If you think small thoughts, you'll get small results. If you think negative thoughts, you'll create negative experiences. If you think limited thoughts, you'll encounter limited opportunities. But when you learn to think like the person you want to become, you begin to create the life you want to live. This isn't about positive thinking or denial of reality. It's about strategic thinking that focuses on solutions rather than problems, possibilities rather than limitations, progress rather than perfection. It's about training your mind to look for opportunities instead of obstacles, to see resources instead of roadblocks. Breakthrough thinking requires questioning the assumptions that have been limiting your potential. What have you been telling yourself about what's possible? What beliefs about yourself, others, and the world have been constraining your choices? What stories have you been repeating that keep you stuck in patterns you want to change? The process begins with awareness, noticing the thoughts that automatically arise in different situations. Most limiting thoughts are so habitual that they operate below conscious awareness. By bringing them into consciousness, you create the opportunity to choose different thoughts that better serve your goals. The science of habit transformation. Habits are the invisible architecture of daily life. Research suggests that 40–45% of your daily actions are habits rather than conscious decisions. This means that nearly half of your life is running on autopilot, following patterns established by past choices and circumstance. Understanding how habits work gives you tremendous power to reshape your life. Habits operate through a neurological loop. Cue, routine, reward. The cue triggers the behavior, the routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is the benefit that reinforces the pattern. Over time, this loop becomes so automatic that it requires virtually no conscious thought. The key to changing habits is not to eliminate them but to redirect them. You keep the same cue and reward, but substitute a new routine. This works with the brain's existing wiring rather than fighting against it. For example, if you have a habit of reaching for your phone when you feel bored, cue because it provides stimulation, reward. You can substitute reading a book or doing push-ups for the same cue and reward. Creating new habits requires the same understanding of the cue, routine, reward loop. You need to establish clear cues that trigger the desired behavior, design routines that are simple enough to perform consistently, and ensure that the rewards are immediate and satisfying enough to reinforce the pattern. The most successful habit changes are small and specific rather than large and vague. Instead of exercise more, commit to do 10 push-ups every morning after brushing my teeth. Instead of eat healthier, commit to eat one piece of fruit with lunch. Small habits are easier to maintain and create momentum for larger changes. The art of strategic quitting. Success requires not just knowing what to do but knowing what to stop doing. In a world of infinite options and opportunities, the ability to say no becomes more valuable than the ability to say yes. Strategic quitting is about eliminating activities, relationships, and commitments that no longer serve your highest priority. Most people are afraid to quit because they've been conditioned to see quitting as failure, but sometimes quitting is the wisest choice. Quitting a job that's draining your soul to pursue your passion, quitting relationships that are toxic to your growth, quitting commitments that no longer align with your values. The key is distinguishing between strategic quitting and random quitting. Strategic quitting is purposeful. You're eliminating something good to make room for something better. Random quitting is reactionary. You're running away from difficulty without a clear destination. Strategic quitting requires clarity about your priorities and the courage to align your actions with those priorities. It means being willing to disappoint some people in order to avoid disappointing yourself. It means choosing the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. This process often involves letting go of identities that no longer serve you. Perhaps you've been the person who says yes to everything, who takes care of everyone else's needs before your own, who stays in situations out of obligation rather than choice. Becoming who you want to be might require releasing who you've been. The framework of goal architecture. Goals are not just targets to hit. They're tools for personal development. The person you become while pursuing worthy goals is more valuable than the goals themselves. This is why it's essential to choose goals that require you to grow, not just goals that you can achieve with your current capabilities. Effective goals share certain characteristics that distinguish them from mere wishes. They're specific enough to guide action, measurable enough to track progress, challenging enough to require growth, and meaningful enough to sustain motivation through difficulty. They're also time-bound enough to create urgency without being so rigid that they can't adapt to changing circumstances. But individual goals don't exist in isolation. They exist within systems. Your various goals either support each other or compete with each other. When goals are aligned and mutually reinforcing, progress in one area accelerates progress in others. When goals conflict, you experience stress, overwhelm, and scattered energy. Creating goal systems requires thinking holistically about your life, rather than compartmentalizing different areas. Your health goals should support your career goals. Your financial goals should align with your relationship goals. Your personal development goals should enhance your contribution goals. The most powerful goal systems are built around identity transformation rather than just outcome achievement. Instead of focusing solely on what you want to have or do, focus primarily on who you want to become. When your goals serve identity development, they become intrinsically motivating and sustainable. The dynamics of environmental design. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. The physical spaces you inhabit, the information you consume, the people you interact with, and the systems you operate within all influence your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Designing environments that support your goals makes success more automatic and sustainable. Environmental design operates on multiple levels. Your physical environment includes your home, workspace, and the places you spend time. Your social environment includes your family, friends, colleagues, and community. Your informational environment includes the books you read, shows you watch, podcasts you listen to, and social media you consume. Each of these environments can either support your growth or undermine it. A cluttered, chaotic physical space promotes scattered thinking and overwhelm. A negative, limiting social environment reinforces small thinking and mediocrity. A toxic informational environment fills your mind with fear, anger, and distraction. The key to effective environmental design is making good choices easier and bad choices harder. This might mean organizing your kitchen to make healthy eating more convenient, setting up your workout clothes the night before to make exercise more likely, or placing books where you usually watch TV to encourage reading. Environmental design also involves reducing friction for desired behaviors and increasing friction for unwanted behaviors. Remove temptations from your environment rather than relying on willpower to resist them. Create systems that guide you toward good choices without requiring conscious decision-making. The neuroscience of mental resilience. Resilience is not a trait you either have or don't have. It's a set of skills you can develop and strengthen. Understanding the neuroscience of resilience provides insight into how you can build greater capacity to handle stress, overcome setbacks, and maintain effectiveness under pressure. Resilient people show different patterns of brain activity than less resilient people, particularly in areas responsible for emotional regulation, stress response, and cognitive flexibility. They recover more quickly from difficulties, maintain clearer thinking during challenges, and adapt more readily to changing circumstances. These differences are not genetic destiny. They result from specific practices and experiences that literally reshape the brain. The most important of these is cognitive reframing, the ability to find alternative perspectives on difficult situations. This doesn't mean denial or false optimism, but rather looking for opportunities to learn, grow, or contribute even in challenging circumstances. Another crucial component of resilience is stress inoculation, deliberately exposing yourself to manageable stress in controlled conditions. This builds your capacity to handle larger stresses when they occur naturally. Physical exercise, cold exposure, public speaking, and challenging but achievable goals all serve this function. Social connection also plays a vital role in resilience. Strong relationships provide practical support during difficult times and emotional resources for recovery. But not all social connections are equally beneficial. The quality of relationships matters more than the quantity. The mastery of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions, is more predictive of success than IQ or technical skill. In an increasingly complex and interpersonal world, the ability to navigate emotions effectively becomes a competitive advantage. Emotional intelligence has four main components: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Self-awareness involves recognizing your emotions as they occur and understanding their impact on your thoughts and behavior. Self-management involves responding to emotions constructively rather than being controlled by them. Social awareness involves reading the emotions of others and understanding social dynamics. Relationship management involves using emotional information to guide interactions and build stronger connections with others. Together, these skills enable you to navigate both personal and professional relationships more effectively. Developing emotional intelligence requires practice and patience. Start by simply noticing your emotions throughout the day without trying to change them. What triggers different emotional states? How do various emotions affect your thinking and behavior? How do your emotions influence others around you? The goal is not to eliminate negative emotions. They provide valuable information about your needs, boundaries, and values. The goal is to respond to emotions consciously rather than reactively, using them as data to guide wise decisions, rather than allowing them to hijack your behavior. The philosophy of continuous learning. In a rapidly changing world, the ability to learn continuously becomes more important than any specific knowledge or skill. What you know today may be obsolete tomorrow, but your capacity to acquire new knowledge and adapt to new circumstances will serve you throughout your life. Continuous learning requires shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset assumes that abilities are static. You're either good at something or you're not. A growth mindset assumes that abilities can be developed through effort, strategy, and input from others. This shift changes everything about how you approach challenges, setbacks, and opportunities. Growth mindset thinking reframes failure as feedback, obstacles as opportunities, and criticism as coaching. Instead of avoiding challenges to protect your ego, you embrace challenges as chances to develop new capability. Instead of giving up when things get difficult, you persist because you know that struggle is where growth happens. Continuous learning also requires intellectual humility, the recognition that you don't know everything and that others may have valuable insights to share. This humility opens you to new perspectives, different approaches, and unexpected solutions. It prevents the arrogance that stops learning and the defensiveness that blocks growth. The most effective learners are also teachers. They share what they learn with others, which deepens their own understanding and creates accountability for application. Teaching forces you to organize information clearly, identify gaps in understanding, and connect concepts in meaningful ways. The economics of value creation. Success in any field ultimately comes down to creating value for others. The more value you create, the more success you'll experience. This principle applies whether you're an employee, entrepreneur, artist, or leader. The question is not what you can get from the world, but what you can give to the world. Value creation requires understanding what others need, want, or struggle with, then developing solutions that address those needs better than existing alternatives. This might involve creating products, providing services, solving problems, entertaining audiences, educating students, or inspiring communities. The key to sustainable value creation is finding the intersection between what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and what the world needs. Passion without skill leads to frustration. Skill without passion leads to boredom.
Passion and skill without market need leads to irrelevance, but when all three align, you create a foundation for both fulfillment and success. Value